Hello everyone and welcome back to the UConn Huskies Dynasty. Coming off of a huge victory against Syracuse, the Huskies now face their rival in the University of Massachusetts Minutemen. In the game, at least, this is listed as UConn's primary rivalry, but we're going after Syracuse. We're leaving UMass in the dust, but it's going to be really embarrassing if I say that and I end up losing later in this video. Not much to mention with the recruiting board right now, just waiting for guys to commit, but it's all pretty much the same. We unfortunately can't do any hard sells yet because they're not to their top 5, but we are sending the house on a number of these players, and it looks like we're going to be able to snag them, including everyone's favorite duo, the Butt Buddies, Benji Butt and Robert Butts. What makes me a little nervous with Calvin Whitaker is the fact that all of the other schools in his top 8 are top schools. So if any of them decide that they want Whitaker, it's going to be a real struggle to get him. But we're losing, I think, 4 defensive tackles after this season, so getting a 3-star guy like Whitaker is going to help us a lot, because the only other guys we've been able to land so far are 1 or 2-star guys that are going to be like low 60s or maybe even 50s in terms of overall, whereas Calvin Whitaker at a 3-star will probably be like a 67 and will at least be able to be a decent backup if we need him. And I am now seeing that Oklahoma State has gone after Jamie Santos in a big way. I'm not sure if we can compete with that, but we'll give it this week and then see how it goes. The only guy I'm worried about missing out on potentially would be this kicker, because we are losing our senior kicker, and we are probably going to get the 1-star Dylan Missy, but he's a 1-star. He's going to be absolutely horrendous, and we need a starting kicker for next season. So let's see how this week goes for Jamie Santos, and then if we need to bail on him, we will. My assumption would be that this is not entirely set in stone yet because we haven't had the conference championship games. So this may be changing. I'm not entirely sure. You guys let me know if you know a little bit better than I do. Here's the current top 25 in the media. I'm not seeing any team that is super surprising in the top 10. Maybe Louisville being the 85 overall is a little surprising, being all the way up at 5th. And then as we continue to scroll, Washington State being all the way up to 14th at an 80 overall is a little surprising. And Louisiana being all the way to a 19 at a 79 overall is pretty crazy. Other teams receiving votes are Boise State, Oregon State, Kansas State, and Washington. But it is time for the final regular season game, and this looks like it might be a snow game here in Massachusetts. How about that? The UConn Huskies taking on the UMass Minutemen, having the best season in program history for UMass, and they will no longer be independent next season, joining the MAC conference. So here we go. I've yet to see a snow game in College Football 25. This will be my first time seeing one. Wonder how weather affects the teams. Looks like UMass does get a small stadium pulse. Maybe that's because it's the final regular season game. Victor Rosa in the backfield will be a carry for him. Maybe with the white jerseys we'll get lost in the snow, but Rosa gets a pickup of 6. The offense just played cleanly a week ago against Syracuse, and that's what ended up getting us that victory. So hopefully we can look to play cleanly again, as that one must have slipped out of Nick Evers' hands. Now on 3rd and 4, we'll go to the air again. And Nick Evers rolling to his left, stepping up, and he's going to run for it. He's got a lot of running room down the field. He'll slide down around the 41 in UMass territory. Nick Evers, he's not that fast, but he is sneaky fast. I believe he has 77 speed, which is enough to outrun some defenders. 1st and 10 from the 41. We'll go to Cam Edwards for the first time today. Gets laid out after a pickup of 2. Edwards has been struggling with some wear and tear late in the season here, so it's been kind of the Victor Rosa show the last number of weeks, but Victor Rosa has been so elite offensively, I can't really complain. 3rd down and 3. Man in motion. And it's a jet touch pass to Victor Rosa, runs into his right tackle, but still gets the first down to the 30. Fresh set of downs for the Huskies. Evers will look to throw. Has a man over the middle, but the throw is missed in the direction of Brett Buckman. And Evers will look to throw again, has a man, and it's the tight end, Nick Harris. He can't break the tackle, dragged down at the 2. 1st and goal for the Huskies. Fast forward 1 play, it's 2nd and goal from the 2. And in the goal line formation, it's a handoff. Cam Edwards, and he punches it in. Touchdown, Huskies. UConn picking up where they left off against Syracuse, the running game working, and it gets us 6 points to start the day. The Minutemen are quarterbacked by Tyson Pomachan. I did do some research into how it is pronounced. Let me know if that is correct. But from what I can find, the H is basically silent. It is Pomachan. And he just looks like a solid quarterback, 76 overall senior. He is a transfer from Clemson and I believe previously Georgia Tech. Their halfback one is Jackson Paradis, a sophomore who is a 75 overall. Wide receiver one is Frank Ladson Jr. Then they have Sterling Galbin and Sam Staruch. And their best player offensively is their tight end, Dominic Mazzotti. UMass, like I mentioned, having the best season in program history. Previous best was 4 wins. Now they're up to 6. Pomachan on a keeper is going to get a first down laid out at the 33. On paper, UMass is one of the easiest opponents the Huskies had on the calendar on all season. We obviously just beat our most challenging opponent in Syracuse. And now we're struggling to tackle. That's a pickup of 2. But just because we're on a big winning streak, we don't want to get cocky. We don't want to be overconfident against what is a slightly weaker opponent. We know how these rivalry games can go. Pickup of 3. 3rd down and 5. Pomachan out of the shotgun. And he will look to throw, running out of time, running to his left. He's got excellent speed, it appears. Good downfield blocking, and he's got a lot of running room, sliding down at the UConn 25. So we're going to need to have a quarterback spy all day probably. Pomachan is quick. 1st and 10 from the 25. UMass moving right along. Not wanting to be outdone by the Huskies, that is a dangerous pass. Definitely a little close for comfort for Pomachan. Pamuina Brown almost able to pick that one off. As he'll look to throw again, and it is picked off on the very next play. And we'll be running this one back to the UConn 35. It's an interception for the Huskies. By the way, that was our first cornerback interception on the season. It comes in the final regular season game, and it was junior Jordan Wright. All other interceptions to this point have been by our safeties. So big shout out to Jordan Wright getting the first corner interception. Better late than never. 1st and 10 UConn from their own 35. It's Cam Edwards on the carry. Great blocking from the interior offensive line, getting to the 2nd level, and we get to the 50. So 1st and 10 after the big run, and we'll go to Victor Rosa on the ground this time, and TJ Sheffield decided he's too good for blocking. Rosa still gets 8 yards though. I feel like we've really unlocked the run game during this win streak. Victor Rosa's been playing more. Cam Edwards has been playing well. 2nd down and 2. Victor Rosa going to get the carry. Outruns one defender. Jukes out another. Breaks a tackle. Fighting for extra yards. Gets to the 34. 1st down. Cam Edwards checks back in on 1st down and 10. We're going read option here. Edwards up the middle. The tight end just turns around. Decides not to block. That's maybe a touchdown if Lewis Hansen hits that block. Only about 45 seconds left in the 1st quarter. 1st and 10 from the 17, and we'll find Brett Buckman, and he'll get the 1st down to the 7. 1st and goal Huskies. The 2nd quarter begins. UConn up by 7 and looking to add some more points. It's going to be a handoff to Cam Edwards. Great blocking, and he gets hit into the end zone. Another rushing touchdown for Cam Edwards. And the Huskies extend the lead here against the UMass Minutemen. A bad kickoff return has UMass starting from their own 12. Pomachan throws instantly, finds his tight end. It's a pickup of 8. Gonna definitely need some new sliders going into next season to make things, I think, a little bit more challenging. We're still on Heisman with the 15-second minimum play clock. But these games against weaker opponents have been a little bit too easy, in my opinion. And now I've sort of figured out how to beat tougher opponents as well. So I think in season number 2, we're gonna up the difficulty using some slider changes. If you guys know of any good slider sets, let me know. 2nd and 2 for the Minutemen. Pomachan will hand this one off. And that is a decent pickup, and it's enough for a 1st. 2nd down and 8 from the 26. Pomachan back to pass, and that one had a chance to be picked off again. Instead, it's caught and a broken tackle, and he gets all the way to the UConn 38, and they'll hurry it up here. Bad tackling from the UConn defense. I mean, the last drive looked pretty poor as well. 8 minutes left here in the 2nd. And it is an RPO, and they go with the pass option, and it's a pickup of 2. 2nd down and 8 from the 36, as it will be a running play and met very quickly. So after a failed end to the drive, the Minutemen will settle for a field goal attempt. This is a very, very long kick. And it's going to be up and no good. It had the leg, but it was wide to the left. And the Huskies will take over. A touchdown here could already put this one out of reach. 14-0 UConn here in the second quarter. We'll start the drive with a Cam Edwards carry, and he loses a yard. On 2nd and 11, Evers will be back to throw. Steps up in the pocket, but down he goes. Good coverage down the field. That was definitely a coverage sack. And that makes it 3rd and 17 for the Huskies. Evers back to throw. Launching one down the field, TJ Sheffield. It's intercepted by the safety. And the Minutemen are going to take over after this huge return. That was a great defensive stand for UMass. They'll take over from the UConn 41. Little too much air underneath that one from Nick Evers. As now Pomachan will look to throw and finds his man. Lots of broken tackles today. Tackling has not really been an issue for the Huskies this season, but it has so far today. I have to imagine that's an effect of the weather, as the running back will get a carry here. He looks slow running through the snow. Now it's 2nd down and 3. Truly, UMass has not had issues moving the football so far today. Good tackle by Malik Dixon-Williams. First drive ended in a turnover. Last drive ended in a missed field goal attempt. Will this drive be the drive they finally get points? As it is a carry, and Jelani Stafford couldn't get there, but we got there in the end anyway. Durante Jones the second with the tackle, and they'll attempt another field goal. I imagine he'll make this one. He was very close from the hashes, much further out. This one straight on and quite a bit closer. Kick no problem for UMass, and they are on the board. It is 14-3 for Connecticut. 3 minutes left to play here in the second quarter. 1st and 10 for the Huskies. Cam Edwards gets the carry and gets laid out, but nearly to a first. On 2nd down and inches, we go play action. And we'll try to just get it to Cam Edwards as Nick Evers takes a hit. Edwards does make the catch and gets to the 46. 2nd down and 10. Should have probably had my guys wear blue today. Sometimes it's hard to see them in this snowy weather. We get this to TJ Sheffield, who breaks the tackle and gets laid out. It's 3rd and 4. Got to be a little careful here. If we don't manage to convert this 3rd and 4, it's a lot of time for UMass to potentially add additional points before the half. I'm going to chew a lot of this clock away. Try to leave as little time as possible if we do fail the attempt. So 3rd and 4 from the 4. We try to get to TJ Sheffield over the middle, and it works out. 1st and 10 Huskies. So with a minute left in the first half, we'll look to throw, and trying to get that one off to Sheffield. No time. 2nd down and 10. Evers will look to throw. Has Sheffield open on the right side by himself. Beat his man on the route. Gets pushed out of bounds at the 18. 1st and 10 from the 18, 50 seconds left to play. Evers will look to throw, tries to get it over the middle. It's swatted away in the direction of Lewis Hanson. Now on 2nd and 10, Evers to pass. Wants it in the end zone, but actually just in front of it is Sheffield at the 1. 1st down and goal from the 1. Can Cam Edwards get his 3rd rushing touchdown on the day? It looks like he will, and he does. Touchdown, Huskies. Cam Edwards. Not a lot of yards on the day, but 3 total touchdowns on the ground so far, and it's going to be 21-3 UConn. So we head to the half. The Huskies with a big-time lead, 21-3 over the Minutemen in what is the final regular season game. Cam Edwards currently with 54 rushing yards, 8 attempts, 3 touchdowns. The Minutemen do start with the football here in the second half, so they have an opportunity to cut it down to a 2-possession lead if they can manage to score here, as this is a pickup of 3 for the running back. Makes it 2nd down and 7 from the 23. Handoff to the backup running back this time, and he'll get the 1st down and a little bit more to the 34. 1st and 10 after the running play. And they'll go back to the ground, and it's another good run for the backup running back. In fact, that's the 3rd string running back, freshman Cookie Desiderio. Again, let me know if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but I definitely got his first name right, Cookie. Well, Cookie is cooking, and it's 2nd and 3. He's been better on the ground than their normal starter, that's for sure. And they go to Pomachan this time, and it goes nowhere on the blitz. That was Zachary Spears in the backfield, and now it's 3rd down and 4 for UMass. This is a pretty crucial drive for them. A must-score drive, if I might say so, and it's a drop from the wideout. Not the best throw from Pomachan, and I don't know what he's cheering for. You did not just surpass 3,000 career passing yards. My guy was waving to the crowd after throwing an absolute duck that was then dropped by the wide receiver. That is ballsy. UMass looking like they're going to fall to 6 and 6, but they will likely be going bowling as well. 1st and 10 from the 20. It's Cam Edwards on the ground and blown up. Loss of 2. 2nd and 12. Evers will go to the air this time. Wants his tight end. It's intercepted. The 2nd interception that Evers has thrown on the day, and UMass is getting an opportunity. Starting from the UConn 17. Tried to rifle that one in there, but it gets picked off by the lurking linebacker. It's Cookie on the carry, and he gets a pickup of 3. Those are the type of mistakes that let teams like UMass hang around. That was a drive where we could have put them away. Instead, they might have an opportunity to score here. Now it is 3rd and 4. Will they stay on the ground or go back to the air? Pomachan out of the shotgun, will look to throw. Has all kinds of time. Hits his man over the middle, but it is knocked out, incomplete. So they will kick yet another field goal. If this is good, it'll make it 21 to 6. Kick is up, and it is right down the middle. So it is down to a 2-possession lead for the Huskies with 6:38 left to go in the 3rd quarter. RPO play, and it's going to go to Victor Rosa. Makes a move, and will end up getting a 1st down to the 36. So on the fresh set of downs, we bring Cam Edwards in. He'll get the carry. Finds a running lane, and is just short of a 1st down of his own. A penalty pushes the Huskies back about 5 yards. Now 2nd and 5 instead of 2nd and inches. Victor Rosa in the backfield, and on 2nd and 5, we do go to the ground with him. He's going to lose a yard. So now that penalty really hurting us as it is 3rd down and 6. Evers takes the snap and will look to throw. Wants Sheffield over the middle. He makes the grab, but short of the 1st. My heart and soul wants to go for it. The wise decision is to punt it away with the lead we have. 21 to 6. Still a 2-possession lead for the Huskies. No need to go for it in those situations. But hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us later. Pomachan gets this one off in the face of Jelani Stafford. 2nd and 6 from the 27. 3:30 left in the 3rd quarter. A carry for Cookie, and he'll get to the 40. It's a 1st and 10 for UMass. Seems like any time Cookie is in the game, UMass's blocking is just better. Pomachan out of the shotgun with Cookie to his left. And it will be another carry for Cookie. He breaks out of a tackle. Should have been dead to rights in the backfield. Gets 4 yards instead. 2nd and 6 from the 44. And it is another carry, but it's not Cookie this time. But it does look like it's maybe good enough for a 1st down. Can't tell due to the injury timeout. It is indeed a 1st and 10 for the Minutemen. From the 50, tight end in motion. And it's going to be another handoff. Running game working pretty well for UMass today, which is honestly a little surprising considering how good I feel like we've been at stopping the run all season. 2nd and 6 from the 46. It is going to be a throw this time, just a check down, and he steps out of bounds at the 42. And that makes it a more manageable 3rd down and 2. Would not be entirely surprised to see them go to the ground here. Man in motion. It's looking like it might be a run. And it is a run for the quarterback. He's got blockers down the field, breaks out of a tackle, breaks out of another one, and then is brought down by Malcolm Bell. But UMass really moving on this drive, but they've ended up having to settle for field goal attempts pretty much every time. It's another carry for the running back, trucks over one defender, but goes down at the 9. Now on 2nd down and 6 from inside the 10. 3rd quarter nearly coming to a close, and it's another carry. He goes down to the 4. It's 3rd and 1. 3rd down and 1 from the 4. Pomachan out of the shotgun. Looks to throw, has crazy amounts of time, finds his man, touchdown Minutemen. No pressure got home for the Huskies, and UMass punishes. Touchdown Minutemen means that it is a 1-possession lead if they decide to go for 2 and succeed, or if they kick the PAT. First and 10 Huskies. UMass did just decide to go with the 1-point extra point. 21-13 is the score. They're down by 8. So they will need the 2-point conversion if they manage to score, and we don't, of course. It requires that we don't score on this drive. If the Huskies can manage to score on this drive, it pretty much puts the game away. But this one's getting interesting at the very end. From the 29 on 2nd and 6, Victor Rosa on the carry, nowhere to go. The run game was working so well previously, and now it is completely fallen apart. 3rd down and 6. Evers will look to pass, has Sheffield wide open across the middle of the field, and I thought he broke away for a second, but it's a 1st down and a big one for the Huskies. Every 1st down allows us to chew more clock and obviously gets us closer to additional points. 1st and 10 from the 42, it's Cam Edwards in the backfield. He'll get the carry, and it's a good one for him, deciding not to take it to the edge to keep it in bounds. 2nd and 1 from the 49, about 7 minutes left to play. Edwards up the gut, does get the 1st down carry, and we can burn more clock away. Now it's 2nd down and 8. Cam Edwards in the backfield, less than 6 minutes left. Edwards makes a cut. That was a great cut, and he falls forward. A 1st down for Cam Edwards, who is having himself a great day. 84 yards rushing with the 3 rushing touchdowns. Huge day for Cam Edwards. 5 minutes left. 1st and 10 for UConn. Victor Rosa takes over in the backfield, makes a cut, following his blocks, and gets another 1st down. Seems like we've found our footing in the run game again, as we just continue to chew clock. From the 22, Cam Edwards will get the carry. Just holding on to the football. It's going to be 2nd and inches. From the 12 on 2nd and inches, under 4 minutes left to play now. Cam Edwards gets the carry, and he will get the 1st. 1st and 10, basically 1st and goal. 3 minutes left to play. It'll be Cam Edwards on another carry, and doesn't get very much. It's 2nd and 7. We inch closer to the 2-minute warning. TJ Sheffield in motion. It is a jet touch pass to the wide receiver, and he finds the end zone. Touchdown Huskies, and that should put this game away for the most part. Still a couple minutes left. It's not out of the question that UMass could make it happen. It's just unlikely. 27-13 for UConn, 28-13 pending the PAT. So UMass with 2 minutes and some change. They got to score, get the ball back, and score again. But if they're just going to do dump-offs like that, I don't mind. 2nd and 8. About to hit the 2-minute warning. They do get the snap off in time. As Pomachan down he goes. A huge sack. I believe that was Julian Simon. Let's take a look, as it just kind of got glazed over with the fact that it went to the 2-minute warning. But Julian Simon able to tackle Pomachan through the blocker. I mean, you got to just feel so embarrassed as the tackle on this play. Look at this. Now it's 3rd and a long 14 for UMass. They'll, of course, have to go for it on 4th down if they don't get it here, but it's not going to matter. The redemption arc of Malcolm Bell. He goes down at the 9, and the game is over. Malcolm Bell struggled for a couple of weeks, but today he makes a play that puts the game away for the Huskies, and they're going to get to 8 wins on the season. The UConn Huskies have defeated the UMass Minutemen and take the rivalry matchup. 35-19 is the final. If you can believe it, there were 2 garbage time touchdowns, one by the Huskies, which is not entirely surprising after the interception, but then the Minutemen really made a drive. They went down in just a few plays and scored, but there was just no time left. They had to recover 2 onside kicks. It really was just garbage time. Very run-heavy day for the Huskies. Here are the stats on the day. Not a crazy day from Nick Evers. We just didn't ask him to do a lot. I mean, he only had 20 passing attempts, 12 completions. Did have the 2 picks. I believe both of which were just entirely my fault. I don't completely remember them, though. Rushing, though, Cam Edwards really showed up today. 109 yards, 4 touchdowns. That garbage time touchdown, yeah, it went to Cam Edwards. Victor Rosa not as involved in the ground game today, but did still average 6 yards per carry. The receiving game was like all TJ Sheffield, 7 for 78 and a touchdown, but there just wasn't a lot of passing being done today at all, really. 7 pancake blocks from the senior center, Christopher Fortin. Valentin Sen got 6 pancake blocks, and Ben Morosky, the right guard, gave up the only sack on the day. Defensively, our leaders in solo tackles were Malik Dixon-Williams and Durante Jones II. TFL leader was Jelani Stafford with 2, and Gordine and Simon got a half a sack each. The 2 interceptions were by Malcolm Bell, who is a junior, by the way, and he's quickly becoming one of my favorite players just because the way he plays, it just has personality about it. I don't know, there's a storyline here with Malcolm Bell. And then the other player, a guy that I don't think I had mentioned previously, has been very quiet, the 3rd corner, Jordan Wright, who is also a junior and will be back next season, assuming neither of these guys, of course, try to transfer out. So the Huskies finished their regular season 8-4, which, like I mentioned, is the most wins they've had since 2010. And again, don't read into the fact that we're doing so well in season 1 too much. Like I've mentioned a couple times, we have the easiest strength of schedule in all of college football. We were bound to win a good amount of games. We have been locked out by the tight end Tavares Lepsis, the JUCO junior transfer. I'm not too upset about this. Tight end, not that big of a need going into next season. We are officially number 1 with Javante Goda, but he is a 1-star. Gerard Byler, we're number 1. Calvin Whitaker, we're number 1. Robert Butts, we are number 1. And D'Angelo Townsend, we are number 1. Cam Edwards, completely unsurprisingly, wins FBS Independent's Offensive Player of the Week. So I was correct. The bracket did change up a little bit. Looks like Ohio State must have beat Michigan in their matchup. So Ohio State has now become the 1 seed. Louisiana is still in, and it's just changed up a little bit. So now we can start doing hard sells on a few of these guys. Still can't with Lovelace, but we can with Jared Byler. And what this does is it frees up 10 points. And if we can do that enough times, we can start sending points to other people as well. And a quick tip for you, even though we don't know his 3rd item technically, because we know these first 2 and we have a lot of others X'd out, the prestigious strategy is the only one that works for him. So we're going to do that hard sell. It's not our best hard sell other than our conference prestige being a B+, but it should still work pretty well. And nobody else is really pursuing Jared Byler at this point. Actually, it looks like with a number of these guys, we still cannot do a hard sell, despite the fact that we do know Robert Butts' 3 hard sell items. Can't do a hard sell yet because he's still not locked into his top 8 or top 5, I think it is. Yeah, you can start doing a hard sell when they have their top 5. How are we doing on Jamie Santos? We did increase a lot, and we've got a lot more influence coming in week to week than Oklahoma State does. So I think that there's a chance we can battle for him, and I think that that would be pretty worth it. The only unfortunate thing is that obviously Oklahoma has us killed in proximity to home, which is one of his sells, and we have an F in proximity to home for him because he's all the way from Dallas. We can start doing a hard sell on Calvin Whitaker, which is nice. His hard sell might be a little bit harder to determine because he's got a lot more question marks. Looks like it is probably the football influencer one. Yep, there is no other hard sell it can be. It has to be football influencer, so we'll send that his way. So currently we have 20 points to work with, and I think we might be able to get on Zach Costanzo's board with that. We have to offer him the scholarship, of course, and then we can really only send 15 points his way right now. That's the max I have remaining. As a small school at UConn, we just do not have a lot of resources to go after a lot of these guys, and there's really no other points anywhere else. Let's go ahead and advance another week, see what happens, and I do want to see who we are matched up against in our bowl game. Ezekiel Egbo, a 1-star right end, has committed. We did get locked out of Tyrell Bradbury, not the end of the world, that's totally okay, and we have actually passed Oklahoma State on Jamie Santos's board, so I do think that we can probably get Santos. Seems like Oklahoma State really not pursuing him that hard. No more recruiting to do for now. It is the conference championship week, so let's see how that goes as we go ahead and advance one more time. Javante Goda, a 1-star D tackle, has committed. Temple did get a 1-star free safety from us, but not the end of the world. We're still number 1 with Raheem Lovelace. Liberty's still pursuing him. We're still number 1 with Robert Butts, and we are still number 1 with D'Angelo Townsend. Will Howard, the Ohio State quarterback, has won the 2024 Heisman Trophy. And And Zachary Spears wins the best defensive back of 2024. Is that just conference, or is he just the best defensive back in all of college football? That's insane if that's true. And we will be playing Middle Tennessee State in the New Orleans Bowl. No, Zachary Spears was genuinely named the best defensive back in football this year. Victor Rosa finished 11th for best running back. And here is the official college football playoff bracket. You've got 1 seed Ohio State, 2 seeded Georgia, 3 seeded Miami. Texas Tech makes the 4 seed. The 5 seed is Alabama. They will play the Ragin' Cajuns. The 6 seed is Oregon. They will face off against Michigan. 7 seed is Clemson. They play Oklahoma. And the 8 seed is Ole Miss, and they will play Louisville. And UConn, of course, is going bowling. They will be playing Middle Tennessee State in the next episode. Here's an update on how recruiting is going. Don't currently have any hours to spend this week. Most of our recruiting is going to have to be done basically after the season is over, but I do think that we can get a number of these guys. It's been a crazy year in terms of recruits, but I do feel like I've learned a lot this season. I think next year I can do a lot better in terms of recruiting, but it does look like we're going to get quite a few of these guys. We can, of course, remove Bradbury from the board. We still have not entered Zach Costanzo's top 8. Hopefully we end up entering his board. If not, we are almost definitely getting Dylan Missy, so we will have a kicker. He will just be horrendous in his first season. But we could always go after a kicker in the transfer portal as well. But for the most part, these are going to stay stagnant until we get to the off-season recruiting where we can see the transfer portal. Here are the final regular season stats for the UConn Huskies. Nick Evers, 3,168 yards, 35 touchdowns to 12 picks. Was a solid year, nothing to complain about here. Rushing was led by Cam Edwards, who had 674 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 of which came in that last game against UMass. Victor Rosa with 518 rushing yards. We know he was used primarily in the passing game. Receiving was led by TJ Sheffield, 878 yards receiving with 11 touchdowns. Victor Rosa was actually the number 2 receiver on the year, 696 yards with 5 touchdowns. Buckman had 458 yards and a touchdown. Gathings, who missed a good chunk of the season due to an injury, finished with 428 and 5 touchdowns. The fact that he had 5 touchdown grabs and we weren't even to the halfway point of the season is pretty crazy. Probably would have led us in touchdowns had he not gotten hurt. Lewis Hansen with 274 yards and 2 touchdowns. Shamar Porter, 4 touchdowns, 228 yards. And Nick Harris, 131 yards and 3 touchdowns. In terms of blocking, Valentin Sen gave up the most sacks with 6. Wes Ho with 4. Chase Lunt with 3. Ben Morosky with 3. And Christopher Fortin with 2. Defensively, Zachary Spears did lead us in total tackles with 85. He also had 9 tackles for loss. Our leader in TFLs, though, unsurprisingly, is the senior Jelani Stafford with 25. Julian Simon had 5 sacks. Price Yates also had 5 sacks. That led the team. Leader in interceptions was Malik Dixon Williams. Zachary Spears with 2 of his own. And Spears also forced a fumble on the season and recovered 2 of them. No wonder the guy won Defensive Back of the Year. He did have a crazy year statistically. And if you're curious, Chris Freeman, the senior kicker, finished 5 for 12, 41%, but did go 50 for 50 on extra points. And for those of you that are interested in punting stats, Connor Stutz did have nearly 1,300 yards punted for. But anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. I really hope you guys enjoyed. In the next episode, we'll play our bowl game and see if we can get the Huskies their first bowl win since 2009. It would also be their first 9-win season since 2007.